Hey everyone, just bringing you today's update for SOL, BTC, crypto market cap, liquidity, and all the other fun stuff. Um, Starting with the 1 day, you can see the sentiment's a bit bearish, so people have been opening more shorts than longs. There is still that long liquidity down there to grab. Um, if the shorts just keep piling in, piling in, piling in, then eventually there will be a squeeze. We have got those monthly targets, etc., to play out on SOL. So once there's enough shorts in there, makes it worthwhile, then it'll head up. So if we look at the 7 day, yep. So more bearish over the last 7 days, but as you can see, still plenty of liquidity to take if they were to go down. And they don't usually want those people to be able to stay in the game if they take a leg up. So 30 day, a little bit more even, but still more shorts opening up. And yeah, still liquidity to take. So I guess from this, nothing's really changed. We're sort of expecting that they'll probably take one final swipe at these longs. Meanwhile, people get more and more bearish and start opening positions on the opposite side, which is where they're going to go once they've wiped out as many of the longs as they want to wipe out. Let's have a look at the charts. SOL BTC, it's rejected off the interior daily trend. Didn't manage to close an accumulation. So it's going to create a localized range trend on close. If the wick disappears on the bottom of that candle, then we definitely have a problem because it'll open on the other side of it. And from that point, there's quite a high chance it'll reject off it and take a dive. So just keep an eye on that for the end of the day. And that sort of lines up with the flight to safety assets like BTC and the stables, which they've found support down inside that 3 day range, and they're pushing back up towards the top of it at the moment. So it does have the ability to break out of that 68% mark and sort of go up and target one of these higher trends. So that would be quite bad as far as the pricing, etc., on alts, but it could also just reject off the top of that range. So really, it comes down to what happens when it gets up to about that 68.3 mark. Does it reject, come back down, and lose this trend? It's sort of opened on the trend, so it's a real 50-50 play at the moment for that one. So let's have a look at BTC. So BTC on the daily, it's going to create a localized range trend. If it closes down, I mean, it would close up, I suppose, in the next hour, but it's also potentially going to generate a hold level at 114.1k. So just in there, if it creates that hold level and that trend, there will probably be some sort of little fight between the two of them. It's also looking like it may open on the wrong side of the older support trend, so that's kind of indicating that it may want to take a bit of a dive. So keep a bit of an eye on that because we still have those levels down here that it may want to retest. 110, 107, 106. They're all levels that are sitting there that even 102, I suppose, but they're all levels that haven't had a retest and could easily become the target if it loses this trend. So keep an eye on that. Actually, we'll just flip back there for 1 sec. So from this, you're really wanting to see, does it close under 114.1 today? If it does, it's going to create resistance. It's going to create support. It'll be quite a tight little range between there and there. So the trend on the bottom side will probably be about 112, 113. And then, so basically $1,000 range is what it could create. It'd be a bit more bullish if it pulls all the way back up inside there and doesn't create that resistance. That'd be a nice way to close the day, but we will not know until the close. As far as the 7 day close, it's in a position where the next candle could open on the wrong side of the trend, and then if it rejected off the back side of the trend, it would target 106k as a front side, or 110 as a backside retest. So there's a couple other levels in there, 108, 107 that haven't had their retests either. So yeah, if that opens on the wrong side, rejects off the backside of the trend, which is also about that 114 mark, then yeah, it would be able to come down, and you probably wouldn't expect it to bounce until 110 at the earliest. Normally, the bounce you get off these backside candles is a non-sustainable bounce, so you might get a bounce off that, then it rolls over and it comes down to 106. So keep an eye on that. It does look like it's wanting to dump structurally, even though the liquidity just doesn't seem to line up with that at this stage. But if they did a bit of a pump first and some more longs came in, that would generate what they need to then go down. The 31-day it's unable to hard close the trend that it's above, but it's still above it. So that's not a bad thing. It could come down, have a bit of a bounce off that trend, roll over, come down, target these levels. It could bounce off that and just go up, try to create a new trend, like shift that to whatever the next candle might be. But it's really just in a position of nothing. It can't hard close on this candle. It could just roll back down and go down. The trend, if it was to close the day below 111.8, would be quite bearish because it would be under that trend. For now, it's sort of indicating, based on where it's closing, that it might dive down, grab liquidity, go up, or it might bounce. But it's not really telling us much based on what it's doing. So over to SOL on the daily, it looks like it's going to create a local range trend. I've drawn this on here a bit early because I sort of want to see if it acts like resistance before close or whether it acts like support before close. But at the moment, what it's looking like is it's actually looking like it's got a stronger, or the ability to be stronger than BTC in the future, because BTC was creating that hold level as well as the trend. So that's sort of implying BTC wants to break down, whereas SOL is not creating a hold level on the same time frame at this stage, but unless it was to drop down in the next hour and 20 minutes. And it's creating that local trend. If it goes up a little bit more, say if we can close the day around 164 or higher, then it will be really nice and clearly above that trend. So then it could take a bounce off it, which would be quite nice. But yeah, so you also sort of want to look for about 164 for the close if you want to utilize this newly generated support that's through here. And if it closes under, what was that one? If it closes under 161.876, then that's bad because that'll be creating daily resistance level. So eye on that. The 7 day is not really telling us much at all, other than it's going to open on the wrong side of the trend. But it's still got older support trends running through there. They're down there around 154, 153. That lines up with my thought process, which is we should be really heading down there to hit that weekly level. And we just haven't yet. And I just can't help but wonder it's just because there just aren't enough longs. It's just not worth them doing it right now. So I guess we shall see how that goes. But it is definitely going to open in a position where it can take a dive. And the 31-day close on SOL is kind of adding a wee bit of confluence to that because it's creating a hold level at 153.19. So it's got this trend it's rejecting off, which is up here around 179, 180, 181-ish, that sort of price point up there. And we've got our monthly target still in play to 175. And now we've got this hold level popping in here, which has confluence with the weekly hold levels, etc. So, and we're sort of just in the middle, so we don't really I don't really know. Is it going to go up first, hit this, reject down? So maybe it goes up, hits 175, 180, then comes back down here to 153. Or maybe it goes to 153 first and hits that and then travels up to 175, 180. It would be unusual for it to come all the way down to this trend, but which is down around that 137 mark, 140 mark. That would be very unusual for it to dip down to there. But if we got some real bad macro news or something popped out, it could. It's within the scope, so anything that lives inside that sort of triangle there is inside the scope of that 31-day area or that monthly area. So yeah, it could do it. But for the moment, I'm sort of more thinking 153 if we dump and 175 to 180 for TPs if we were to pump up. Yeah, so that's about it for today. There's not really a lot of closes. There's not a huge amount of insight to be taken from this, but we'll see how things develop. And particularly the key thing is what happens in the final moments. So you really just want to be watching things like these one-day levels. Do these candles just get dumped down below that 161.876 in the last 5 or 10 minutes of the day? That's the kind of thing you're looking for, because that then gives you an idea that there's bearish intent, and that once they push the price down below these levels, all the algos in the world will kick in and go, cool, let's sell, and that just takes them down. So and it's not uncommon for them to make things look really, really good, and then boom, right there just before close, flip it the other way. And likewise, they can make things look really, really bad, and then just before close, they flip it the other way. So keep an eye on those levels for daily close, and yeah, we'll see how we go. I'll come back with an update if there is anything interesting later in the day. Hopefully it's not just a boring day. Hopefully we get some decent moves. Cheers. Bye.